Namaste. Welcome to Wise Out Career Guide. When we were young, growing up, I don't think anybody would have escaped the question of what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, when you growing up, by the time you come to the eighth standard, then the question is so which stream are you gonna study in? Whether it's gonna be science, commerce, or humanities. But nobody, while they ask this question, helps us understand that if we're taking science, where do we go from there? What are the career options? What are the courses that we can do? The only answer that we hear is there's still time in that. First finish your 12th, then think about it. Or first clear your 10th and see if you will get into science or commerce. Well, when you're there, then what? After you've completed your 12th, then what? Let's say you've enrolled into a college, you've taken up a commerce stream or even a science stream, or for that matter, humanities. You're there in a college, you've done your studies of 3 years, then what? What is the role that you will be, qualified, or what are the higher studies that you need to do to be part of a role, to get that job, to understand actually, listening to something and actually going and doing it day after day, year after year are two very different things. For people born in the 80s and 90s, the standard answer used to be if you're intelligent, you'll be a doctor or an engineer. If you're okay, you'll do something in commerce, maybe do a MBA or a CA. Humanities, dekh lo, something you can do. But that's not the case anymore. The world has changed and it has changed drastically, especially after the pandemic that we've seen in the last 2 years. Now, if you talk about a MBA in HR, there is not just, somebody, you'll become somebody who is just looking after the pay scale or, the attendance or the welcome of the employee. No, HR has so many specialities that we're not even aware of as, college students or school kids that can attract us if we only knew what is the work that happens, what is the kind of career progress, what is the diversification that we can get into. When we think of hospitals, the only thought that comes is, oh, you need to be a doctor to be in a hospital. Well, that's not true. There are so many things that are required for running a hospital. Yes, one part of it is being a doctor, but there is somebody who has to look after the finance, the projection of the inflow of the cash and the outflow of the cash, somebody who has to manage the facilities, somebody who has to ensure that the appointment system is working. You've taken an appointment, you nowadays you can do it online, you can do it over the phone. Who ensures that that gets captured and the doctor himself is aware that he has an appointment today or he has 20 appointments today? All that work is also done. You just don't need to be a doctor to be part of a hospital. Or let's say the armed forces for that matter. When you think of armed forces, the first thought is, okay, army. You don't even think about navy and, air force. But even when you're thinking of army, all you think about is that forward postings, being on the border, getting that kind of a training. But do you think it's possible for army to function with just that? Think about it. Who's going to look after their payrolls? Who's going to look after their constant need for training and upgradation of their skills? Not just in combat, but in strategic thinking and planning. Who's going to look after all the transportation, the food requirements? All those things is also done by people who are in different roles. Let's take, example of an airlines. Is it just the pilot and the air hostesses who manage the entire thing? There is somebody sitting at the control tower. Now, who is that person? What is the qualification? What is the educational requirements to be there? Or those people who are, ensuring the taxing of the flight, or the people who are loading stuff into the airline for it to reach from one destination to the other. What are those qualifications? We have no clue, because nobody, no website, no one is talking about it. And then once we have, even if we get that knowledge, listening to somebody, but then what happens? What is that difference in that reality of, you getting your job offer and thinking, okay, from tomorrow or next week when I start my first day, this is what I'm going to do, because that's the image that we've created. But does that image always match the reality of entering that office and the role that you get? So you think if you get a job in marketing, from the very first day you would be deciding the entire marketing strategy of that brand? You think any brand is going to take that risk with a newcomer? So if not that, you've got job in marketing. So what is it that you're going to do? How is it that you're going to progress? What are the things that you need to understand or keep in mind to be able to grow in that role? Or let's say you've been working for last 10 years and now you're thinking of getting into a business. The what, where, how, which segment to get into, what are the pros and cons of that segment, what happens when you get in, what are those small things that actually make or break a business. The advice that you get from your friends and family, I think they're mostly biased. Biased not out of any negativity, but biased out of their own fears and their fears for you. So, the idea of this particular channel, the reason why we here today and we're starting this journey, is so that we can speak to various people working in various fields, people who've started their careers not in their 20s but maybe in their 40s, you know, or people who've taken that switch from working to into a business. So we're going to talk to them, understand what was their educational background, things that they understood, gathered information about before taking that step, and how they moved from one stage in their career to the next. So I hope you will join us in this journey of understanding various roles that are there in various segments. We're not going to cover just one segment. It's not going to be just science or just commerce or just humanities. We're going to talk to people from their various different segments in life, people who've started their career early or late or have done that switch, people who have stayed in one stream of throughout their career, or people who have stayed with one industry. So we're going to find out what their journey was like, what are the things that they learned, what are the things that they find is important for you to succeed in life, and what are the educational backgrounds that they need, and biggest of all, how and what was their bubble bursting moment of that offer letter and that reality of the first day, first week in their career. So I hope you will join us in this journey. Please do like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to click on that bell icon to watch the next video. Thank you so much.